Okay, today's episode of Flightless Bird, we're finally releasing one of the live shows we did. In what city is it?
This is San Francisco.
San Francisco.
It was a fun one.
It seems like it's so long ago now,
I know.
which is crazy to me. It seems like about a year ago with all the crazy in America.
It's been about a month, I think.
But no, this was a really fun show, and I'm very excited for you to be able to listen to it. It was very special, and the joy of the live shows is we kind of never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I really like that energy.
Yeah.
And speaking of live shows, we have
Two more
coming up.
Yeah, this summer we're going to go to Denver, and we're going to go to my hometown of Chicago.
I've never been. I can't friggin' wait. We're playing Denver on July 3rd.
Yep, at the Cervantes Masterpiece Ballroom.
And Chicago on July 10.
At Park West, which I've seen many shows at Park West, so
oh yeah,
it's exciting to put on a show there. But a reminder to any taxidermists in Denver and Chicago.
Yeah, we like to decorate our sets.
Or if you know a taxidermist.
Yeah.
And you have birds.
Yeah, we want
weird animals, I think is fine.
Yeah, I think any sort of dead stuffed creature we would love for our set. So email us.
Bear in Denver.
A bear would be amazing. Transport will be difficult.
Yeah.
But
they can figure it out.
There are like big Ubers you can order.
Yeah.
Email us flightlessbirdchat@gmail.com if you know any good taxidermists. And also, as usual with these live shows, if you know anything amazing in those cities, any amazing topics or insights or things you'd like us to cover, then flightlessbirdchat@gmail.com. Particularly, I'm starting to look for like incredible live guests to have.
Yes.
So if you have anyone in those cities with insider knowledge or an amazing story to tell, I'd love to hear from you.
Previous guests, we've done.
Oh my God.
Beavers.
We had an incredible beaver expert and a Bigfoot expert.
Jerk Off Club.
Jerk Off Club was...
serial killer expert.
Yeah. Just anyone that has if they're doing something interesting in Denver or Chicago, or they have an insight into some amazing historical story or current like murder case.
Something weird and obscure.
I don't want to hear about the tourist trap in your city.
Yeah.
I want to know about the thing that you know about. And you're like, no one knows about this thing. That's the kind of stuff I want.
Unless we can get the guy that made the bean in Chicago.
That is one tourist trap we will accept. Tickets are on sale when?
Denver's on sale already.
Cool.
So go to our website. And Chicago should be on sale tomorrow, the 28th of May.
All the details at flightlessbirdpod.com. Hopefully we'll see you there.
Yes.
And here is our live show from San Francisco.
Hello?
Hi Hayden, how are you?
Hey, I'm really good.
What's happening in New Zealand today?
I've got bed bugs.
Oh no, what does that mean?
I stayed on Rangitoto Island, which is a volcano off the coast of Auckland. I slept in a pretty old bed and I have bites all over my limbs and hands.
What do bed bug bites feel like?
Just a bit itchy, and they just look unsightly.
I hope you get some cream or something.
I don't know if I've got cream. I don't know, we don't do creams in this country. We're not a cream country.
Well, you'll be glad to know that I'm recording this for the audience in San Francisco where we're doing our show tonight.
Oh, great. That's such good news. That's such good news. I would have absolutely... That was just there. It was just tailored for San Francisco.
When I say San Francisco to you, what kind of images are conjured up in your mind?
So they've got those coloured houses that are in a row. Those are there. There's some water. Mark Zuckerberg is there. He's lurking around. All of them. Sergey Brin probably. Bezos, he's there. Very expensive housing. And the song, if you're going to San Francisco, make sure you wear, which I think is the gay LGBTQ plus heritage thing. So pretty detailed understanding, you'd have to say. I don't think you need to go ahead with whatever this is. I think I've pretty much covered it just there. I'm confident.
Well, we'll see.
What? Is there not an actual topic? What is this? What is this now? You just ask me about a city and get me to paint a word picture. You don't even ask me about anything specific anymore. Once I got rung up and asked about the death penalty, this time it's just San Francisco. What do you think? What is your process here? This is lazy. You need to come up with a fucking topic.
Build professional skills this semester with Adobe Creative Cloud and create standout work both in and out of the classroom. Save big on professional creativity tools. Students get 65% off Adobe Creative Cloud, including Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, Acrobat Pro, and 20 plus creative apps. No matter what project you're working on, Adobe Creative Cloud apps can help you take it to the next level. Visit adobe.com/student to learn more.
Flightless, flightless, flightless bird touchdown in America. Flightless bird touching down in America. Do, 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 do.
Thank you for being here, San Francisco. Oh my God. I know by now that you hate being called San Fran. I know this, and I'm going to try my hardest to never fucking do that this entire night. Hi, Rob.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm really good. So Rob and I have been in a deep discussion about this venue the entire time because it is so grand and so beautiful and so ridiculous, and we've been like, we've gotten ahead of ourselves.
Well, you're wearing a Blockbuster onesie.
Yeah, so basically, we've reached the gimmick phase of this podcast, which is like me being dressed as a Blockbuster VHS tape, pretty much. Last week, we went to Bend, where the last Blockbuster is, and had a fucking blast. It was the first time I've ever been to a Blockbuster in my life, and it was extraordinary. I found out that the smell specific to that store is because of the floor tiles and the plastic of the VHS/DVD/Blu-ray covers. That's what it is. My point is, look, we got stitched up with this venue. It's too big. Look, we just want to address the audience and the problem we have.
Coliseum outside.
This is huge. Our booker got ahead of us on this, and we booked a venue that was too big. We're deeply glad that you are here. Thank you so much. If there is...
When we told my mom when these shows were, she was concerned people weren't going to come because it's Good Friday.
Yeah. Well, no, your mum literally texted, I'm not going to that show because it's Good Friday. It's she's like, you fucked up when you booked the show. It's Easter. And I also forgot that America is largely, look who's president, is largely a Christian nation. And of course, you don't book a show on Good Friday. This is a day that Jesus got nailed to the cross. I know all this because I got raised in this. This is a very important day. The fact that you're all here means you're all essentially heretics.
Well put.
Woo! And that's okay. The only way that I know this venue is because I saw it in a midnight screening of The Room. Who here doesn't know The Room? Oh, you all know it. Holy shit. Who knows The Room? Oh, fuck. Yeah, all right. More on that shortly. Something I just wanted to clear up before we get into the show. We've spent 2 days here.
Yep.
And I understand that San Francisco sort of hates Los Angeles. Is this correct? Okay.
I feel like LA has that rivalry with a lot of cities, because New York's the same way.
Right.
Yeah.
They hate LA as well.
And I don't think anyone in LA really hates New York.
Okay. So just for some context, this is how I kind of feel. How you feel about LA is kind of how I feel about America as a whole. So just know that it's like there's things to like, but it's also a bit sort of like this is not necessarily a good place. Like people are just getting sort of like randomly sent and deported and detained to other places. It's a dangerous place. It's a weird place to be. I'm not sure I'm into it. Every 3 years I renew my visa and I'm like, is this the thing I want to be renewing my visa for? I don't know. It's weird. I don't want to be ragging on your country, but it is a weird fucking place. And if there's any people from ICE in the audience tonight, you can fuck right off. Let's just get that out of the way immediately. Okay, Rob.
You're swearing a lot tonight.
I've been riddled with self-doubt ever since someone emailed flightlessbirdchat@gmail.com saying, David, when he swears, like, just stop because you're trying too hard. Like, you're a nerd trying to be cool. Thank you. Fuck yeah. Rob, we've been on a little tour of this beautiful city.
Yeah, that's the fun part about all these live shows is we get to spend the day
We do.
before.
It's an excuse to be a tourist for both myself and Rob. Oh, look at us there. Look at that beautiful bridge. When you're up close, it's so big and impressive. You've got a great bridge in this town. In New Zealand, we have the Harbour Bridge. Pathetic. This is a bridge, and respect to you, it's amazing.
David also found a tunnel by the bridge, which he loves tunnels.
If you've been listening to the podcast for a long time, you'll know that I love tunneling. And we have a few future episodes planned about Americans who love tunneling under things, because Americans also love tunneling. Oh, chocolate, what a brand. Look, I got to be honest. In New Zealand, we have Whittaker's chocolate. You know it. It's good. I'm going to sample this type of chocolate later in the show, and we've got some to hiff out to you and to the audience. I'm curious if it measures up. We'll see. Oh. That's nice, isn't it? Just two bros hanging out. Now, Smeagol. When you're a New Zealander in America, you're always looking for those connections that make you feel at home. And when you see a little boat called Smeagol, it's like, holy shit, I'm back home. Thank you. I'm a horrible little creature in a cave.
And still haven't seen Lord of the Rings?
Still haven't seen it. I won't. Boring. Okay. I don't like heights. The thing, Rob, you think Rob is a nice guy, but he's actually a massive, insane bully. And when he sees something that he knows I will hate, he's like, we're going to do this. And it was awful the entire way. I don't like heights. I've never liked heights. If I'm stressed, I'll start holding myself. And that's what I'm doing there. Can we get off that slide? I hate it. Oh, yeah. Great noises, don't they? They're comical, aren't they, the seal? Beautiful creatures. Very smelly. I don't know if you've noticed. Do you like just... I hate doing this because it's such a sort of a crowd interaction moment, which I feel is like cheesy. But like, who likes these creatures? Who wants to see them put to death? No one. Good. I'm on your side. I love them. They're great, but very smelly. What's happening here?
So we took a trip to Alcatraz yesterday.
Yeah. And I want to say that Hayden earlier mentioned that San Francisco, Be Sure to Wear Flowers in Your Hair, very popular song, was used in The Rock, which is a film that was hugely important to me in New Zealand back in 1996, shot on Alcatraz. I feel that's a fact just for me, going on that reception.
You posing in front of a cell?
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. Al Capone was out there. I've spoken to a few people in San Francisco, and a lot of people have never bothered to visit the prison. I was blown away by this place. It was incredible. What did you think of it?
Yeah.
It was incredible. I mean, people, the cells, you can go into the cells.
I don't like being in a prison.
What, you're worried you'll get locked in there or something? Yeah, you don't like prison.
No.
Okay.
This is you using the toilet?
Yeah. I was squatting. I wasn't sitting.
And all over the island there are a lot of birds, and every time David saw one, he would chase after it. Didn't learn his lesson.
The whole thing about this show being called Flightless Bird, obviously it is about, in New Zealand we have generally a lot of flightless birds. On stage we have flightless birds. They're not flightless when they're alive, but they're dead, so they are flightless. But my dad is a veterinarian, and so I was brought up with a lot of different animals in the house, and we had a lot of birds, and so I do have a genuine appreciation for birds, and I'm secretly trying to pivot this podcast into a podcast about bird life, which is what happens.
Yeah, you tried to pet a lot of birds at Alcatraz.
I did, yeah. There are a lot of... So if you go out there, it's a nesting site for all these amazing species. You should go there. It's fucking incredible. Highly recommend it. Although we did get stuck in line for about 2 hours, which was deeply annoying. Okay, what's going on? So all your portaloos, if there's a building site, there's a portaloo outside. None of it is a standard plastic portaloo. It's all made to look fancy. Do you know this? Okay, why are you doing this? Yeah, aesthetics, fair. Yeah, it's just a trip. I haven't ever seen it before. What are these little wooden shacks? They're like little thrones for people to have a little doo-doo in.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, it's just a unique thing. Oh, yeah. No reaction to that at all. This is a full house. In New Zealand,
you insisted on going here.
This was everything to me. All I know about your city is from that fucking show. Have some respect for Full House. This is the house. Literally, in New Zealand, that's the first interaction I had with your city was that show. And so I was like, Rob, let's go. I pestered him for 3 days and he finally let me go, which is incredible. There were a bunch of influencers outside that house when we visited, and they immediately jumped into a Waymo. The Waymo thing, I'd heard about it, but I didn't know it was so entrenched in the city. I saw one, the first one I saw here, I went and got a photo in front of it, because I thought it was novel, and then there were like 100 more.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do this audience interaction thing all night, but who thinks Waymo... I'm going to do who is good and who is bad. So who thinks Waymo is a good thing? We can ride home, it's affordable, maybe there's not a creepy driver. We love technology. We're in San Francisco. We love technology. Who's pro? Wow. Who is like me, who is a bit fucking, come on, give me a human driver, AI, give me a human driver. All right. Yes. Hold on to that, because the alternative, I don't think it's good. Oh, do you know this pin store? We went here, and this has been... We walked past this store, Rob and I, randomly, because we're up the road from where we were staying, and there was a guy there that was this was here in 1970. It's still here. This place is iconic. And they basically, any pin in the window, you take a photo of it, you circle what you want, you text it to the house that it's in, and they will then come out with the pin and you pay them in cash only, and they'll give you the pin. This place is fucking incredible. I'll post it on Instagram later. It feels like the best thing in the city has to offer, and I love it. I love this pin store. I got some Bob's Burgers pins, and I was very happy. Yeah, this park. There was apparently, this is a city where you need these signs? Like in New Zealand, it's generally like a child, like it's... I looked at the sign and I was like, what does this mean? And then I realized it's like, no, you're a city full of pedophiles.
Did you have a child with you?
No. No, I had your children were there. I took them to the park, but I felt very concerned.
As you should.
We love this coffee. We went for coffee of Excelsior and it was incredible. We've got some coffee we're going to hurl out to you later because we really like this place. Big fans. Oh, that indicates this segment is over. Something that has been unique about this tour is that, Rob pitched this. Like, we're going to go to these different cities and we're going to do live shows. He didn't tell me that he was going to be bringing his entire family along for the entire time. And, that's cool, but it was like, it's been a lot. And so, So Calvin and Vincent delivered the cards.
You went right for that.
For a wonderful bit of audience interaction called Weirdest Things in San Francisco. Rob, hand me a few of these bad boys. Beta Breakers is an annual road race where people dress up as salmon and run backwards against the crowd. I like that. Is that once a year? Okay. Rob?
The fog has a name, Carl the Fog, which was our Wi-Fi password and made no sense to me until I read this card.
A Wi-Fi, but Carl the Fog? Like what? Do they have a frog and they misspells it? No, it's just a local thing. Bush Guy? I'm concerned about Bush Guy. We have a Bush Guy in New Zealand and it's not good. So I'm going to revisit this later.
We got another guy, the Knob Hill Bubble Guy.
Knob Hill Bubble Guy? One clap? That's the Knob Hill Bubble Guy. He's here tonight. He's very happy that we've recognized him. This is bleak, but it's also deeply obvious about this city, the income disparity. It's fucked. It's insane. I mean, I can't talk. Like, we're from Los Angeles. It's there too, but I don't know. America as a whole, it's got some problems, but I feel like Los Angeles and San Francisco have this in common where we clearly have income disparities, but it's here particularly pushed up against each other. Maybe that's a good thing because it shows us how fucking horrific it is and we should do something about it, but it's also deeply unsettling, and thank you for the one clap. But it's also that weird thing. I don't know. We have this in New Zealand as well. We're increasingly, the income gap is widening. And there's also like a very worrying sort of trend where liberal people like myself are trying to scream about this stuff. But then there's also that weird dichotomy where we're also defensive about where we live and we want our families to be safe. And I don't know where I'm going with this. But the income disparity thing is a big problem. We need to fucking figure it out.
Hunky Jesus.
Hello. Easter. Was this your mum writing in?
Yeah, it was.
Do we know about Hunky Jesus? Any more details? It's a contest.
Hot Jesus contest.
That's cool. Feels a bit naughty. Feels cool. I mean, obviously, Jesus got followers for a reason. Like, people weren't just going out there because he had a good message. You've got to be fucking hot. And I feel like he was. So I support this. There's a guy, an artist, who puts flags in dog poop left on the street. I love that. That's great. Is the artist here? No. Keep doing it. I like this. I get deeply annoyed. I don't mind if your dog shits in the street. What bothers me is when an owner picks it up in a bag and then ties it and then leaves it. That's the problem. And whoever's putting a flag in that, I support you, because fuck those people that bag it and then leave it. Thank you.
The Dirk and Dagger law. No length restriction on blades, so you can walk around with a katana legally.
Really? Is anyone in here got a blade? I don't like that law. I don't support that at all. America's fine with guns and bullets, but it's the blade. Get rid of it. It's insane. Okay, this is I'm worried about this because it's a very long entry. Microclimates.
Yeah, I got one of those too. We got a couple of these.
We're synced. Okay, so within the 49 square miles, you can easily have an over 15 degrees Fahrenheit difference from one neighborhood to the other. That's the end. That's insane. Really? I mean, we've discovered it's been very cold in the mornings, very hot in the nights. Okay, we'll solve that in a future episode.
We got a lot of cards about being totally normal to see naked dudes casually strolling on the street.
Is that a good thing? Cool. All right. In California and New Zealand, that is illegal. But here, I mean, nakedness is fine. It depends always, doesn't it? It depends like this, if they're erect or not. That's the thing, right?
Hey, you know we're in California right now, right?
Oh, fuck, we are.
Yeah. This is the northern part.
They're the same.
Yeah.
So why do you hate California so much if you're the same place? I don't understand that. Dodgers. Oh, sports. An area I am not comfortable wading into. Okay, we're going to morph into a different segment of the show right now. Florida gets a lot of shit because of, Florida Man. But Rob and I discovered that if you, type in any man in America into Google, it'll give you some shit. And so we have a segment now called San Francisco Man. Topical. San Francisco man has argument with a driverless car. A laughing hooligan blocked a driverless car while taunting it, then allegedly attacked a man who filmed the entire thing. Police are hunting a young man in a backwards cap. Look around you right now if he's here. After the bystander he's accused of attacking almost died from a fractured skull. That's the thing in America. You've got a funny article and then it goes dark in the second line. Bizarre footage shows the man, aged 25 to 30, trash-talked the Waymo vehicle in the Pacific Heights neighborhood of San Francisco at 1 a.m. on July 5. He stood in front of the vehicle in the middle of the road, preventing it from moving as the AI refused to risk running him over. What are you going to do? I want to see it. Come on, Waymo. Give me something to work with. He shouted at the car. Another part of the video showed him banging on the car's hood and shouting, "Hey, come on! Let's work for each other, bro!" The car responded, "Unsafe behavior detected." And a robotic voice. Does it do that? That's amazing. "You're no better than me," the young man yelled in response. "Come on, we're friends, Waymo. We're fucking friends. You told me we were going to be fucking working for each other," he said. The video ends there. But police allege at some point the man filming told him to knock it off and let the car go on its way. Instead, he moved away from the car and lunged at his victim, causing the victim to fall. Police described the alleged attacker having a medium complexion with facial hair. He was last seen wearing a dark backwards baseball cap, a black jacket, blue shirt, light blue jeans, white and blue sneakers, and carrying a white bag. Are you here tonight? I kind of respect what that person did. Not knocking the other guy over, but in attacking a Waymo because I'm not into it. This speaks to America. SF man given a $13,000 bill for a 6-mile ambulance ride. This is my greatest fear here, and it's like a way that your country is truly... I'm not going to lecture you. I feel annoyed about America tonight for some reason. But America is kind of crazy, and I feel like you're like a lobster that's like slowly being boiled where you don't quite realize how crazy it is. It's like I got served up an ad on Instagram this morning in like a very light and breezy way for a whiteboard in a school, and a teacher's like writing on the whiteboard, but he's also like, "Hey, this thing's bulletproof." And he's just like selling it to me like it's this casual thing. And I think so much of this country is just accepting the weirdest, most like outlandish shit and just being like, "Oh yeah, it's normal," and we'll sell it to you. And so I feel like whenever I see a headline for an ambulance ride, I feel like, oh yeah, here we are again. Because health insurance here is cooked. I'm preaching now and I'm being annoying. Sorry. Jack Switten was out on a run when he tried to cross a busy street in San Francisco and was hit by a car. He did a little flip before hitting the ground. Witnesses to the accident called for an ambulance, but Whitten instead had his friends say, do not get an ambulance. He's never wanted one. He knows it's going to rip him off. He got to the hospital with his friends. He was treated for minor injuries, broken toe, some bruises. He suffered a minor concussion. And then the hospital said he'd have to be driven to the only trauma center in the city at another hospital, and they called the ambulance. At that point, it was kind of like out of his state of affairs. The ambulance bill was $12,872.99 for a 6-mile ride from one hospital to the next. It's fucked. It's insane. I don't know how this keeps happening. The receipt was itemized as a base ride, an EKG monitor, and something referred to as an infection control. It's insane, but that's what you do here for some weird reason.
Stay tuned for more Flightless Bird. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Support for Flightless Bird comes from Peak Life. Now, Rob, you've done something that I have wanted to do but have never done. You have given up coffee.
Yeah, I've given up coffee and I exclusively drink tea now. And one of the teas I've gotten really into is Peak's Non-DACA. And it's not just another coffee alternative. It's the upgrade your body's been waiting for.
Okay, so instead of a quick caffeine hit, you can essentially get a steady, sustained energy that lasts all day with no crashes, no afternoon slumps, just clear, focused, calm energy that keeps you going.
Yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about it, and why I needed to stop drinking coffee was it made me jittery and anxious, and by afternoon, I just needed to re-up my caffeine intake.
As a coffee drinker, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm never anxious. I'm never freaked out. So what makes Non-DACA so special? Well, unlike other called mushroom coffees, this one actually uses real functional mushrooms. A lot of brands use mycelium, which is basically just grain powder. But Non-DACA, it's made with 100% fruiting body mushrooms, the part that actually has the powerful compounds that support energy and focus.
Yeah, since drinking it, I can tell my mood is boosted, my focus is sharper, and I just love the pure, clean ingredients that I can tell I'm drinking.
So if you're sick of feeling wired, tired, and running on fumes, you need to try Non-DACA. Right now, Peak is offering 20% off for life and a free starter kit with your purchase. That's a rechargeable frother and glass beaker to make the perfect cup every time.
Just go to peaklife.com/flightlessbird. That's PIQUE life.com/flightlessbird. Trust me, your energy, your gut, and your future self will thank you.
Support for Flightless Bird comes from Bombas. Now, people talk a lot about spring cleaning, but here's what you should be really talking about. Bombas spring socks. You heard that right. It's a busy time of the year, and the right socks can make or break your entire spring. Like, are you ready to actually commit to your new running hobby? Well, Bombas has thoughtfully designed blister-fighting socks that help you get from mile 1 to marathon in comfort and in style. And they also make the ultimate errand socks, from actually spring cleaning to walking the dog and everything in between. Basically, they've got head-to-toe comfort, because you know what goes great with new spring socks? Fresh white tees, waterproof slides, and a few pairs of buttery soft, seamless underwear. Bombas makes all of that as well. I now wear nothing but Bombas socks. I love them. They're comfortable. I travel with them. I'm wearing them right now as I record this ad. And they now offer international shipping. In addition to the US, they now ship to over 200 countries. Bombas started making socks when they learned that they're the #1 most requested clothing item in homeless shelters. So thank you for shopping with Bombas. You've helped donate over 150 million essential items. That's a lot of socks and a lot of kindness. Head over to bombas.com/bird and use code BIRD for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/bird, code BIRD at checkout.
Okay, I'm going to stop preaching. Next one. Sometimes things go bad when you leave San Francisco.
Yeah, this one did not happen in San Francisco.
It was the opening of a bull run in Spain where 2 Americans and a Spaniard were gored by bulls.
A 46-year-old from San Francisco was gored in the neck in the city's building at the end of the 930-yard course. He was undergoing surgery. The pack dashed together along the cobblestone barricaded street concourse. Towards the end, one of the bulls stumbled, causing panic, and one of the bulls gored the man when it resumed the race and charged some of the racers. The run, which lasted 2 minutes and 41 seconds, ended with no further incidents. That's good. Uh-oh. This is intense. So, San Francisco Medical Examiner's Office declared a 50-year-old Tenderloin. Tenderloin? Is that a real place? Where is that? Tenderloin. Do you want to live in Tenderloin? Whoa! Okay. So, a 50-year-old that lived in Tenderloin, he died of an overdose in 2021, sending his daughter, and the state sent the daughter his man's ashes. But it turns out those were someone else's ashes. Oh. The man was still alive, and the family is going through quite an ordeal. The man in question is James Robinson, who moved to SF in 2019. He was struggling with drug addiction, but still had a relationship with his eldest daughter, Kylie. Robinson was staying at the Dahlia Hotel. Do we know the Dahlia Hotel? Cool. In 2021. And a man's body was found in his room. Dead, he'd OD'd from fentanyl, very topical right now, horrific. The office of the chief medical examiner determined that the man was James Robinson. His daughter Kylie did not have the $4,000 for his cremation and needed a few days to get it together. She didn't have a chance to see the body. She got the ashes, but she never got the autopsy report. Always get the autopsy report. Here. The family had a funeral, and Kylie got married without her father walking down the aisle. We had zero suspicion, she tells the Chronicle. We put our faith in the medical examiner. We never ever heard of something where they didn't properly ID a body. Fast forward 3 years, it's 2014. That's last year. And Kylie got a phone call from a friend who saw James Robinson alive and well in the streets of your beautiful city. The Chronicle obtained the autopsy report that Kylie never received. It turned out the body had been missing the tip of one of its fingers. James Robinson was not missing a tip of one of his fingers. The tattoos on his body were not consistent with the tattoos on the deceased. It was a huge relief, Kylie said. James Robinson, the man who was alive, was arrested here in San Francisco in 2022, but the police let him go because the fingerprints showed he was dead. Which I fucking love. Armed with the knowledge that their father was alive, family members walked the streets of San Francisco and they found him and they were reunited and everything ended well. Isn't that beautiful? A clap for the man that didn't die. Our final San Francisco man. Sabhula Williams, an electrician who lived in Oakland, bought a 2008 BMW X3 for himself in 2020. He loved the interior, it was a comfortable ride, and it had good cargo space. The way your newspapers write about stuff is very funny. It started developing electrical issues, so he decided to part ways with it. As luck would have it, a man he ran into frequently while enjoying the city's nightlife needed a car in 2023. The two decided $1,000 was a fair price for an SUV that needed a few repairs. 3 months after the sale, Williams filed his share of the paperwork. He started getting tickets in the mail. Bridge tolls, parking tickets, they all started piling up. He texted the new owner to let him know he was receiving the tickets and he needed to solve the problem. The buyer replied saying he'd fill out the paperwork. He never did. By December, he owed $40,000 in tickets and late fees. We'd known each other for some time. That's why I didn't really get wise to what he would do, that he would do some stupid bullshit like this, he said. That's the end of the story. The story's kind of like taper out. Got one more? Yeah. Our man. Boo! This fucking Piece of shit. J.D. Vance is deeply influenced by a SF man who once suggested turning unpredictable people into biodiesel. In 2008, a software engineer in San Francisco named Curtis Yarvin, writing under a pseudonym, proposed a horrific solution for people deemed non-productive. Convert them into biodiesel, which can help solve the Mooney buses. I don't know what that term is. Mooney buses?
Muni buses.
Muni. Still don't know what it is.
That fixed it, right? It's their buses.
Buses. Just say bus. The trouble with the biodiesel solution is that no one would want to live in a city whose public transportation was fueled even just partly by the distilled remains of its late underclass. However, it helps us describe the problem we are trying to solve. Our goal, in short, is humane alternative to genocide. That's what Curtis said. He concluded that the best humane alternative to genocide is to virtualize these people, imprison them in permanent solitary confinement, where, to avoid making them insane, they would be connected to an immersive virtual reality interface so they could experience a rich, fulfilling life in a completely imaginary world.
It's like a Black Mirror episode.
Pretty much Black Mirror. Yarvin's disturbing manifesto earned him influential followers, chief among them Peter Thiel, who has a bunker in New Zealand, FYI, and J.D. Vance. I know. Following a brief stint as a lawyer, he had moved to San Francisco and got into Yarvin's stuff. I almost don't want to read on because it's just so annoying. But like Thiel, my point is like Thiel and Vance liked this man that suggested these things. And these are the people that now influence every aspect of the country that we currently live in. And I think that's just insane. Yeah, that's all I have. I feel like annoyed and I almost don't want to read on. It's enough. There's more to this article, but it's like more and more rage-inducing. And I just feel like it's not real, and I feel like we should move on to a really good part of the show because we have a wonderful guest. Now, I was deeply aware that Rob and I were in a city of incredibly intense tech bros. I wanted the opposite of a tech bro because I hate tech bros so much. Anna Lee is a mechanical engineer and the co-founder at Lioness, which is a sexual wellness company dedicated to championing female sexual pleasure. Earlier on, eagle-eyed members of the audience may have seen Rob's child running off with Anna Lee's product, which was worrying for me and Rob and Vincent's mother. But we're okay. We're here. Because Anna and her team have built the very first smart vibrator that helps improve pleasure and orgasms through biometric feedback. This includes AI-assisted guidance based on data from 50,000 orgasms. And that's where I was like, holy shit, we need Anna on stage right here. Anna Lee, please come and join us on stage. We want to know about these devices you have made. Did Vincent return your product?
I think it's right there.
Oh, it's here.
I promise this is a display one. It's not been used. It's a demo.
That's going to be my first question.
The child is safe.
You were on a very early episode of Flightless Bird.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit about this back in the day, but because we're here, I wanted to get you out here again. I'm just deeply curious how you came to the idea of like, we have a vibrator, let's get some data out of this thing. And I'm curious because you were at Kindle before this.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about this, but I feel like at the time you were dealing with like a lot of like data in that product and figuring out like touch surfaces. And then you were like, why don't we use this in a different way?
Kind of, yes. So I started as a mechanical engineer at Amazon building hardware devices. And for me, I thought this was like what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I was like, I'm going to be in this cubicle. I'm going to CAD. I'm going to make Kindles. And then one day I met a founder of a different sex toy company, and it was very random. And it was this guy. And I was like, how do you know what you're building works for people with vaginas? And then he was like, oh, there's like an industry standard where you put the vibration on your nose, and that's what a clitoris feels like. And I remember just being like, oh, okay.
That's true? That's a thing?
No.
Like, no, I'm not saying it's true. But he said that?
Yes.
The
and
nose.
Actually, if you go to sex toy conventions to this day, they always will be like, oh, put it on your nose, put it on the skin between your thumb and pointer finger, because it's like, that's what it'll feel like on your clitoris, because it has a lot of nerve endings. And I remember just being like, wow, I was very scared of my body growing up, and I never thought I would do anything in sexual wellness or anything like that. And then I was like, every time you buy a sex toy, and they're kind of expensive, and then it doesn't work for you, you're like, man, something is so broken within me, like I can't use a sex toy. And I realized it's because a man like this is building vibrators where he puts it on his nose. And I thought that's so stupid.
So am I right in thinking that before you kind of came on the scene, most of the people that building vibrators were just men?
Yeah, so the sex toy industry is very historically male dominated. It's changed quite a bit now. Like there's a term sex tech, which has been coined recently. There's different smaller companies up and coming, and there's a lot of different kinds of founders that you're seeing in this space, which is great. But for us, we wanted to put data in because we were looking into research around female sexual pleasure. So what's the research around it? Because there's a lot on penises. Like for every 7 papers there is about penises, there's 1 paper about female sexual function, and typically the paper is about fertility, which is great. But then also we know nothing about female sexual pleasure, like in any shape or form. So we really want to figure out how to get that research out there.
And so I feel like your device has been gathering a lot of data over the time. And I know you prepared some like data for us of like what you've figured out from this device.
Yes.
And I feel like we should like have a little look.
Yeah, because orgasm data is really fun.
Data is good.
It's the only kind of graphs I think that are like quite fun.
What's happening here?
Yes. So this is one of the biggest research papers we published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine about 2 years ago, and it was really, really exciting for us because that's been our whole thing is we have a vibrator, and the hope is to expand the research around orgasms. And one of the big things we learned is that there's very unique patterns that happen during an orgasm. So what we measure is your involuntary pelvic floor contractions, so how your vagina or butthole muscles, anal muscles, squeeze and relax involuntarily. And there's a really interesting pattern that happens during an orgasm that's different from the rest of the graph. And typically in research, what has been previously cited, starting from the 1980s, is this one right here is called the ocean wave. So it's this very rhythmic squeeze and relax that happens like this, and it's highlighted in red. So that's the most common one, and that's the one that people say like, this is an orgasm. And because we've collected so much orgasm data that people have been really kind to donate to us for science, we found 2 more. And so we gave them really cute names. In the paper in the 1980s, they call it like type 1, type 2, type 4, which isn't as fun as ocean, avalanche, and volcano. So the ocean wave is this very rhythmic squeeze and relax. The avalanche is the second most common one. It starts really high in force and has a similar squeeze and relax that happens, but it goes down in force over time. So it gets a little weaker, a little weaker, a little weaker. And then the volcano is kind of your classic, I think, how they show it in movies a lot of times, which I find like often inaccurate, but you see kind of like a quiet period and then a huge explosion of force and then a huge drop in force, less of this rhythmic movement that happens. And this is a very rare one that we've seen, and we haven't really seen a lot of people have it. But it could be the reason why if my best friend described her orgasm to me and I'm like, oh my God, I've been doing it wrong because that's not what mine feels like. It just might be because you have a different pattern than your friend. So now everyone's thinking about how their vagina muscles squeeze and relax right now. I know it.
And you're getting this, so you've got this, like, there's an app on the phone and you can look at this.
Yeah.
And get all the data and figure it all out.
Exactly.
Okay.
We used to call it like a Fitbit for your vagina, and then Fitbit. And then I think like Cosmo Magazine or someone put like, it's a Fitbit for your vagina, and then Fitbit said, please do not use us as a comparison.
It's really good.
Yes.
So what's happening here?
Yes, now you get to see my orgasm data. This is the biggest screen I've ever done it on. My mom's going to be so proud of me. So this is my orgasm data. So beyond research, one of the biggest things we encourage people is to experiment with your own body. What works for you, what doesn't, is the whole point of understanding what might be changing your pleasure, what makes it better over time. So this is what I would consider like my baseline, your typical session. So mine usually is about 1 minute and 5 seconds. I've gotten really good at it. I know. Thank you so much. It's not a typical length of time. And then the orgasm length itself is 11 seconds. And you can see it right there. I'm an ocean wave pattern. You can see this really rhythmic squeeze and relax that happens. So this is what I would call my baseline. And then from here, you experiment and you try all different kinds of things and see how your
holy
orgasm
shit.
changes.
So I can be in any scenario and figure out like how my orgasm differs in different environments.
Yeah, how fun is that? So
Terrifying. Alcohol?
So this is, for example, the first thing I did during the pandemic was I was like, I'm going to get really drunk and see what my orgasm data looks like. So that's what I did. So you can see it was much longer. It's 8 minutes and 56 seconds. The orgasm itself is longer, but I would call this session like alcohol is not great for me in terms of like pleasure. And I would think a lot of people can relate to that because you can't fucking concentrate because you're just like all over the place. And so all these squeezes and relaxes are more me just being like, trying to really get into the moment, kind of squeeze, relax, and being like, okay, I'm like getting close. But then you're so drunk that you're like not really focused on the orgasm itself. And so that's what this graph is showing, how chaotic it was, the experience.
Not recommended necessarily.
Not recommended. I mean, you could try it.
Okay.
So
Stressed.
So some other fun things that I've actually like learned something about myself was that there was a month that I was really, really it was like a really stressful month. And luckily at that time, I was also doing like the little blood test where you can like, and then you spit every like few hours and you can get your like cortisol tested. And that
This sounds very San Fran. What are you talking
I know
about?
he was going to make fun of me for it.
What is this? This is a test you can do here?
My whole life is about like figuring out, tracking different things, you know?
Yeah, okay. So you're tracking your body, what it's doing. Okay, I'll stop interrupting. Sorry.
No, please. So I was checking my cortisol levels, and one of the things I realized is that my orgasms get very, very shitty. This is one where I did capture it, and most of the times I like could not even get to an orgasm. And if anyone's like ever been stressed and then you also cannot experience sexual pleasure in the way you want to, it adds more stress into your life, and then you just kind of have this rolling snowball effect of stress. But this is what it kind of would end up looking like. There you don't see very much pelvic floor contraction movements, and then the orgasm right there is this very sad little blip of a thing. But most of these in that month is like empty. There's like nothing happening, and then I'm like 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star.
Okay, what was the next nightmare experiment? THC?
Whoa.
Okay.
This one I always like pick and choose whether I'm going to present this depending on what city I'm in. But if I can like always recommend two of the most interesting data we've seen from people, it's weed and edging. But weed is really cool.
Was that
They
woo
know
for
about
weed or
edging.
edging?
Both. I think there's something really cool that happens with THC specifically. So this is when I got really high because I was also curious. And then I also used a THC lubricant, which was really popular like a little bit after the pandemic. And you apply it like vaginally, and then I don't know how to explain to people. I always say like it makes your vagina high, which is kind of cool. And you can see the data just looks way more incredible. It has like this very like deep rolling effect, and you're really like within your own body and just like really experiencing pleasure within your own body. I don't know, it was very special. I really highly recommend weed.
This is better than the alcohol.
Yeah, oh
Way
yeah,
better than alcohol.
yeah, 100%.
What could possibly be better than THC?
Edging.
See, that was a good setup, wasn't it? You know, that was good. This was your idea, not ours.
It was. But I asked for permission. I was like, hey, I have this idea.
Yeah.
I was like, what if I listen to a Flightless Bird episode while I try to do it? And then you guys gave me a list of which episodes I should listen to. Yeah. And then I picked Olive Garden because I love Olive Garden. So I did my best.
Yeah, so, I think I suggested focus on the family just because it would like annoy them. But you were like, that is horrific, and I'm not going to do that.
I think it would have been completely empty, honestly.
Okay, so I feel like you've seen these results, Rob, because you organize these graphics. I haven't. What was the
report?
The best orgasm
okay,
of
here's
all
my
time.
finding. Here's my finding about trying to listen to a podcast episode while you're trying to flick the bean. So when we first started the podcast, I started off really strong. You can see the pelvic floor contractions happening, and I was like really trying to get into it, and I was like, okay, I'm really ready for this experience.
That was the theme song.
And you see these like contractions that are happening because I'm like really trying to get into it and all of that. And then I just want to highlight this right here because I thought it was really funny.
It looks like a real flat line that's happening.
So this little orange highlight, I marked it because I thought it was so funny because you're talking about how you're doing shots of the Italian dressing with vodka, and I was like, and I laughed, and then I was like, I bet you the Lioness recorded that. And you can see it. You can see the little blips of me laughing, and I thought that was like a funny thing to point out. And then yes, the rest of it was a little dry. It was a little difficult. It's really hard to do that. But I'm not going to say it's because of the episode. I was just really engrossed into you guys talking about all
That's
of it.
a very kind way of couching this
It was
graph.
a great episode. I learned a lot. I learned about the food, everything, how they named it Olive Garden. And then so finally...
Quince is going to love this.
And then you had a Quince ad. And then my brain turned off, and then I was able to get back into what I was originally planning to do with this episode. Thanks, Quince.
It's really good. This is going to help us a lot with like the budget of our show. This is perfect.
Yeah, because people won't skip the ad. They're listening to it all the way through.
You guys are all jerking off.
And as
whilst
you can see, I
listening.
got to the O. And I got to the O. So in the episode, 10 out of 10. Loved
And
it.
this is blowing my mind. Thank you. Just because we need to get on to a different topic, which is horrific in comparison to what you're talking about. What is like your main takeaway from your research in the space? You said you obviously like entered like a very male-dominated space working on this stuff. What's your main takeaway been in here?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think, so we've been doing this for 10 years, which has been really exciting. I think the biggest thing, like, obviously this is like really fun stuff. I think the idea is that you want people to explore their own bodies, get really knowledgeable. Like, I truly was scared of my own body. My co-founder will laugh because when we first started the company, I was like, I never want to say the word clitoris on like interviews. I don't want to ever have to do an interview. I'm like terrified of everything. And then clearly now I'm like, here's an Olive Garden episode. I think there's something really special. Yeah. So I think there's something really special that happens with knowledge of understanding your own body. And one of the biggest things is just I know we talk about all the time women's health, like we don't know anything about women's health. But we truly do not know anything about women's sexual pleasure or sexual function. I tell people all the time, people talk about, if you look up like how many nerves does the clitoris have, you'll see the number 8,000 everywhere. But it's actually because that number 8,000 is from the 1970s, a book called, I think, the Clitoris. And it's from a cow's clitoris. And then they said that's what human clitorises have, is 8,000 nerves. And we only found out how many nerves a clitoris has in 2022 because of a doctor who was like, why don't we actually test the human tissue of a clitoris to actually know what that looks like?
That's insane.
It's really crazy. It's like from a cow's clitoris. Also, it's kind of crazy that cows have clitorises. That's something just you don't think about.
Anna, thank you so much.
Yes.
We're going to have you back on at the end for a Q&A, so if there's any brewing questions, keep them. Thank you, Anna. Thank you. My God. Discovered that our podcast is deeply unsexy apart from the commercials, which is very funny to me.
Stay tuned for more Flightless Bird. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Support for Flightless Bird comes from Thrive Market.
Now, lately, I've been trying to clean up the way I shop for groceries, not just for my health, but for my budget as well. I was getting really sick of just standing in line in aisles, trying to find the right thing and overpaying for a few healthy items at my local store. And that's when I gave Thrive Market a shot. And it's been a total game changer. I'm getting the same high quality brands I love, but for less and without compromising my standards. Thrive Market is basically like your favorite health food store, but online and way more affordable. I'm talking about brands like Primal Kitchen, Simple Mills, all delivered to your door and up to 30% less than what you'd pay at traditional stores. Everything they sell is non-GMO and meets incredibly high standards. They actually ban over 1,000 ingredients that are still allowed in US products, things like artificial dyes, preservatives, and seed oils. The site's super easy to shop. You can filter by diet, like gluten-free, paleo, keto, low sugar, all that stuff. So you're not wasting time reading every label. And the shipping, fast and carbon neutral. Plus, when you sign up, you get to pick a free gift worth up to $60 with your first order, which, by the way, is a pretty great way to try something new. I use Thrive Market because it's easy to use and I can get stuff that I actually want to eat and I know it's going to be healthy. Skip the junk without overspending. Head to thrivemarket.com/bird to get 30% off your first order and a free $60 gift. That's thrivemarket.com/bird. thrivemarket.com/bird. Support for Flightless Bird comes from Helix. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you'll know that Helix Sleep has been one of our sponsors for a really long time. And that's because we really like Helix here at Flightless Bird. I've had a Helix mattress for about 3 years now. I sleep on it incredibly well. It's changed the way I sleep, and I'm deeply appreciative of that. I have a bad lower back because I'm tall and I'm old, and having a good mattress is really, really important. I've traditionally slept on a whole lot of really bad mattresses back in New Zealand. And yeah, Helix Sleep here in America, oh boy, I love it. So go to helixsleep.com/bird for 27% off site-wide and a free bedding bundle. That's a sheet set and mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. Exclusive for listeners of Flightless Bird. That's helixsleep.com/bird for 27% off site-wide and a free bedding bundle. Sheet set and a mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. Exclusive for listeners of Flightless Bird. helixsleep.com/bird.
Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Okay, we're going to have another guest come on, and it's a bit of a change of pace. On January 17th, an 82-year-old trailer yard landlord named Curtis Lind was murdered in the Bay Area by a mysterious attacker wearing a mask and a black beanie. 3 days later, more than 3,000 miles away in Vermont, a US border agent and a young German maths whiz who worked as a financial trader were killed in a shootout after a traffic stop. And police in Pennsylvania are still investigating the murder of an older couple who was shot dead outside their home in Chester Heights, a suburb of Philadelphia, on New Year's Eve 2022. What links all of these cases is a Bay Area-based cult known as the Zizians, who have a very specific vision for the future. We are moving here from orgasms to cults. I know it's a bit of a rocky change, but we're going to do it. From what I understand, Zizians are convinced that someday soon, AI will surpass human intelligence and take over the entire planet. The Zizians believe that those who work on AI are primarily meat eaters, and so any super intelligent AI would use the meat industry as a kind of blueprint for how society worked, therefore enslaving and torturing humanity for all eternity in factory farms spread across the galaxy. So to prevent this, obviously, they would need to murder everyone who was not vegan who worked in AI. Logical. Io Dodds is a journalist based in San Francisco, specializing in long-form and investigative journalism that unearths how hidden systems and cultures shape our lives. Her key interests include technology, science, political movements, social change, and LGBTQI+ affairs. She's here to talk about a story that I still find fucking confusing. Io Dodds, please come to the stage, because I want to learn about what's going on. Io, I've been trying to get my head around this for a few days now, and it's so deeply confusing.
Yes.
You have been covering this. I mean, we started organizing this show 3 months ago, and I was like, we need to look at the Zizians, because this thing was kicking off, and then since then, it's just gotten bigger and bigger. Could you just very briefly describe such a broad question, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, good question. Okay, so, I think I'm going to start off by saying there's a big asterisk around everything I'm saying. There's a lot of information we don't have. A lot remain mysterious. Some call this group a cult. Some say that's not the case, especially people who are in the group. Also, is there even a group? Is it more like a loose sort of collection of people who have these various different ties to each other? One of the people involved in this has recently alleged there's more than one group of Zizians. They're actually potentially rival factions. There may be some sort of Zizian civil war going on. So basically, and in addition, the kind of judicial process of this, the process of investigating and charging various crimes here, is really, really early on.
For someone that knows nothing about this, and we're in San Francisco, so I imagine everyone here kind of knows the basics, but because my understanding is Ziz is the cultural embodiment of this thing, and it's this online AI-obsessed group of young people who are we're not happy about how the future is going. The people involved in AI are going to turn this into a complete nightmare, so we need to start killing them. Is that kind of the gist?
Maybe. The last part, we need to start killing them, unclear. It's frankly unclear how some of the actions that have been alleged, some of the killings, in any way really connect strategically to what you would assume would be the goals of these people based on their writings, right? Why these ideas lead to, and therefore this, is really unclear at once. In fact, I spoke to someone who knew a lot of these people and is kind of deep into this philosophy, and I was like, so do you see what this is trying to accomplish? What any of this is trying to accomplish if they did the things they're accused of? And she was like, no, don't make any sense.
Is that just because this cult is so, it's based on online, fan fiction and writing and theories, and it's all kind of gotten to a point where it's all just so incredibly hard to decipher?
Yeah, it could be. I think it's also, there's also an aspect of this, which is a lot of these folks just basically, dropped out of or were forced out of, depending on who you speak to, polite society, and kind of ended up in a position of substantial desperation. All of this starts within a very particularly Bay Area subculture known as the rationality subculture or rationalist subculture. It's kind of intertwined with effective altruism, which is a phrase more people may have heard of. Sam Bankman-Fried, the convicted crypto fraudster, was a very high-profile effective altruist and donor to effective altruist organizations. And they're all kind of snarled up together in this. It's kind of a movement, kind of a subculture, kind of a community, kind of a cult, maybe. And it's really thick here in the Bay Area because it attracts people who are nerds, it attracts people who are into computer science, it attracts people who are neurodivergent, maybe a bit autistic or very autistic in my case. This area attracts a lot of those people, and they all kind of end up here and come into this community. I did think to myself before coming, I thought, okay, I think I can define the rationalist beliefs, the rationalist subculture, in 60 seconds. I'm going to try, and I wonder if one of you could time me. I'm going to be a bit sharp.
No, I'm down, because the whole rationalist thing, is a lot. It's okay, I'm timer going now.
Okay, so you're a rationalist. This means you value intelligence and logical thinking. You're probably also a ethical consequentialist. You think that, the moral value of an action can be judged based on its outcome. You probably also think, at least theoretically, that the outcomes are measurable and they are quantifiable, they're comparable, so you can do some kind of mathematical calculation to figure out what the most good thing to do is. This also means you probably care a lot about efficiency and morality because, we have scarce resources, we only live so long, and therefore you've got to really put your do-gooding energy where it will do the most good. And this is where we start getting weird, because also you probably believe that soon AI is going to, as you said, assume godlike power, either saves humanity because it's so smart it can solve all of the biggest problems, or it's going to doom us, and because we haven't taught it to respect human life. And so now you have a big problem. You're a consequentialist, you want to do the most good, and there's this looming massive moral problem that outweighs almost everything else that could possibly ever happen, and whether it's going to be hell or utopia depends on the thoughts and the actions and the beliefs and the values of the very small number of people who are working on this problem now before the future comes, which now includes you. So,
oh God,
do the right things, don't do the wrong things, and think the right thoughts, don't think the wrong thoughts.
Yeah, because I feel like the thing that I really liked or sort of found fascinating about the Zizians is they have this concept of like a bad idea or like an idea that's too big can kind of infect your brain and will completely like fuck up your entire life, just like a thought and a thought that goes wrong. And I feel like with this cult, that's kind of what's happened, because obviously they have this big idea about what life should look like. And some of them are going, oh no, we need to kill people to make life look like this.
Right, like, yeah, it's Ziz herself, and like we haven't said yet, the person on the left here, the woman on the left there, is Ziz Lesotho. I believe she's currently 34 years old, computer scientist, esoteric blogger, apparently quite digitally charismatic, because her philosophy is what kind of gave the group its name. Now, the name Zizians was coined by enemies of the group, and there's dispute over whether there's really such a thing as a Zizian, but it's clear that her blog, her ideas, kind of inspired a lot of people. And basically what happened was she and a number of other people associated with her, they started to build this kind of school within the Bay Area rationality movement, and then they crashed out of it, were exiled, left. There was a lot of bad blood. They attempted to protest this rationalist think tank. The protest went very wrong. SWAT teams were called. Everybody was put in jail. They alleged being treated very badly in jail. And after that, they were kind of exiled for the community. And in that community, like a lot of people are living together in group houses. They are, working at rationalist think tanks. It often is quite an all-consuming community to be in, like your whole life, or your friends are kind of in this community, and your job and your housing is tied up in that. So when they crashed out, and they ended up living really on the sort of fringes of society. And, those ideas, which are basically like disagreeing in particular over the importance of animal rights to like future the ethics of future AI, and also they had a very uncompromising idea of like what is good and what is evil, and whether a person is good or evil. That's like very important to this philosophy.
When I look at this, I feel like it's almost like looking at the Charles Manson case, where you have a leader Ziz who has not killed anyone, but has his power over people in the United States that are committing crimes. Is it similar to that?
Maybe I would lean towards no, but I will say when I first explained this case to my editor, which took a little bit of time, I said, based on the facts I currently know, this could be anywhere on a spectrum between, oh my God, this is the transgender AI-focused Manson family, or this is a bunch of people who have been forced out of their community, scapegoated, and been wrongly accused of a bunch of stuff. Or it's somewhere in between. Frankly, that's still where I am. Either of those things could be true, or something more complicated. I'd say the big difference here is that, like, it's really unclear whether Ziz is a leader in any sense anyone would recognize. She's certainly influential. Certainly her philosophy her ideas seem to have played an important role in this, but was there any kind of like coordination, or was there kind of cult leaders thing of like one person basically like exploiting and abusing other people? Unclear. So far, I'm not really getting that vibe. It more seems like a group of people who just had brainworms that clicked perfectly with each other, and the brainworms got together and made a beautiful, weird thing.
Just finally, before we conclude, are there any Zizians out there still operating, or is this thing primarily are people arrested and is it shut down, or could this continue? Because there's been 6 killings so far, or attempted murders?
Yeah, 6 deaths. I mean, some of it
it's complicated.
Murders. But yeah, so, I mean, some of them might not be murders. It's really unclear.
But is it mostly contained, or is there a chance there's a Zizian here tonight who will hack my head off in half an hour?
Well, recently a friend of mine said that she was at a sex party and she overheard someone saying about other people at that sex party, oh, they're Zizians.
Oh, God.
So there might be loads out there.
So ICE and Zizians are not welcome here.
But I will say that,
it's like Scientologists.
Scientologists, they're
Yeah,
out there.
there was this great post going around on Tumblr which was like, oh, Mormonism is like magic archaeology and Scientology is like magic psychiatry. So the next big weird American religious movement is going to be like magic computer science. Oh okay. I think it's not contained. Most of the people that have been like identified as part of this group network, these two groups, whatever it may be, are now in jail. And given that authorities are now looking into the idea that this is like a cult and it was all this activity was coordinated, I think it's unlikely they're going to get out anytime soon or be released on bail in many cases. But the ideas are out there. We know that at least one of these seems to be just somebody was reading this blog and was like, hell yeah, I agree with this. And somebody who used to be in this community, who's kind of still in this community, said it's not just the Zizians, it's the whole of rationality subculture creates the conditions for the spinning off of weird extremist cults. Like, when you believe that this thing is coming in the future and it outweighs almost anything else you could possibly be like trying to worry about, and it's your responsibility to do something about that. And not only that, but like anything you do that doesn't contribute to that is potentially wasted effort. Like, that's a kind of common perspective this person told me in that community. And so she said, this is going to happen again. This larger community that the Zizians kind of split off from is going to continue to generate extremist manifestations, and the community is only going to care about it when it becomes a problem, when people start getting arrested or people start dying.
Okay, another good reason for me to stay in the United States of America.
Yeah, right.
Io, thank you. We're going to bring you back at the end for a Q&A. Thank you for telling us all about this.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We're going to take a very weird swivel now. Do you guys know The Room, the movie? Okay. So the first time I learned about this venue, it was from watching The Room. There was a couple of shots in there of this venue, and I was like, holy shit, where is that place? And when I found out where we were, I was like, oh my God, this is us. I met Greg Sestero, who is one of the stars of The Room, over a decade ago now. I texted him when Rob and I were organizing the show saying, can you just talk to the experience of shooting in the city a little bit? And so he sent this video back. He's in China at the moment. And despite knowing him for over 10 years, I realized when he sent this video that he still has no idea how to pronounce my surname, which is funny to me. And this is Greg Sestero.
Well, hi, San Francisco. What's up? It's your best friend, Greg Sestero. I'm an actor, writer, producer, and also a survivor of the cult movie The Room, which was filmed in San Francisco. Longtime friends with David Ferrier. We've known each other now for over 15 years. We've bonded on so many topics, but mostly we connected about this movie, The Room, which I had the pleasure of filming in the fall of 2002. It was an independent film at the time. We showed up to the city to film establishing shots. And San Francisco's got a lot of those. So we did the Golden Gate Bridge, we did the Palace of Fine Arts, Golden Gate Park, and then we pulled up to a flower shop, which was on 15th Street and Dihon in near the Castro District. And we pulled up there. We had no idea what we were gonna do. And my friend Tommy Wiseau just pulled up to the front in traffic, put his hazards on, and he walked into the flower shop and he said, oh, hi, yeah, we make a quick movie. We buy flowers, you play yourself. Good story, right? And the two flower clerks looked at each other like, who is this guy and what's happening? Did vampires take over this city? Because my friend looked like a real life vampire. And oddly enough, they just rolled with it.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, can I have a dozen red roses, please?
Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't know it was you. Here you go.
That's me. How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And we filmed 3 takes while the car was still outside with hazards on. And it was the most incredible thing. I had no idea what we were making. I just thought, man, no one's gonna ever watch this movie. And on the 3rd take, there was a dog sitting on the counter, and my friend looked at the dog, and he's like, my God, dog, so cute. Is your dog real thing? And they're like, what's that? is your dog, is it real thing or statue? And they're like, no, our dog's a real thing. So on the last take, Tommy went up and said, hi, doggy. And it became a scene that people now for over 20 years watch around the world. In fact, I'm in China right now, and it's a movie that people love. So the city of San Francisco, I love it. I'm from there. It always brings magic. Enjoy David's show. He's a master. And much love to you all. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
If you haven't seen The Room, you must watch it in ideally at a midnight screening or with 5 or more friends in the one room. I want to invite our 2 guests of the night back, Io and Anna. Please come back. And we're going to take questions from all of you. You can ask questions of me and Rob. Our guests, it's entirely up to you who you want to talk to. So just throw your hands up into the air if you have any questions, and we're going to dive in. Okay, so the question was, cow clits have 8,000 nerves, allegedly. How many nerves do humans have?
They found that it's over 10,000 nerve fibers. It's a lot. Very sensitive.
That's good.
What about in your nose?
Yeah, what about on the nose?
That's a great question, but it's not a lot. Don't do it on your nose. That's weird.
Okay, hands into the air. Right at the edge at the front, you're going to have a microphone delivered to you.
What are you using all of the research about orgasms for? How are you developing it?
Yeah, is it evil? Or is it okay?
So we have a research platform. So all the data is fully anonymized, and we only look at aggregated data. The only way we do connect the data is researchers come on our platform and say hey, I want to do a research on, for example, menopausal women and how the orgasms change over time. And then people opt in, and then we connect that data to the researcher so they can do their research study, and it just enables them to be able to get more data quicker.
This question is for Anna. I'm in the medical device business. Is your device a medical device?
Great question. So the FDA doesn't want to touch sex toys. It's considered a novelty item, which I actually think is quite disappointing. So it's not a medical device, unfortunately. So you do have to look out for what materials you use when you buy sex toys, because there's a lot of bad apples out there.
There's a hand right here. There's a mic coming to you right now, sweeping in from behind. Hello.
Sorry, this is more of a comment, but...
This is dangerous. The comment or this is part 1 of 3 are the 2 dreaded things.
I believe that Io gave an incredible 60-second summary of her topic, and we all wanted to applaud right after she gave it, but David just kind of interrupted her right in there.
Uh-oh.
And so I just want to have our moment to applaud, because it was incredible.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I guess I would just briefly add that it is important to note that not every person in that community has that idea, that level of feeling of pressure about AI. That's a set of that community, but it's definitely a big set and an influential one.
There's one right here. Yell it, sir. Okay, Rob, you're an incredible foodie. What is the best place in the city that you've eaten? Do not mess this question up.
Yeah, that's serious.
We did Rentaro last night.
Rob and Natalie,
David
his wife,
babysat.
I babysat. And they brought me back a little bit of chicken. And I devoured it in bed like a little gremlin.
In your room by yourself.
And I loved it. Hands in the air. Front row, cap, yell it out. Where is the data from the vibrator collected from the watch? The vibrator, inside, outside?
Yes.
Where is it collected
Yes, so
from?
you have to insert it vaginally or anally. So we have people with penises that use it anally, and you get the same data. So anyone can use it.
Yeah. Do we need to worry about the Zizians and AI getting into our sex toys?
That's a very interesting question. I mean, if you go to the right sex parties, apparently, you can run into
There may
some.
be a crossover, right?
Yeah, I'm a little nerd.
I think probably AI is a more relevant danger there than Zizians. I think that, the sort of rationalist fear about AI is that it would be so completely able to exploit any and every tool against humanity that any kind of digitally connected sex toy would be included in that. So if the AI apocalypse comes, if we find ourselves in a Terminator-like situation, do not trust your sex toys. Immediately take your sex toys out of your house, draw your revolver, and unload into the sex toy.
Okay, we've got
It is the only way to be sure.
We've got 2 more questions. Hands in the air. Right in the middle. Yeah, so when it comes to the rationalists and fan fiction, what is the crossover there?
Yes, this is very important. I can't believe I was remiss in not mentioning this and was failing in some degree my duty as a journalist. One of the main figures of rationalism, and especially of the AI-focused strain of rationalism, is a guy called Eliezer Yudkowsky. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. He is an AI researcher, a blogger. He wrote this sort of almost like holy text of the community called the Less Wrong Sequences, which is a sequence of blog posts about how to become less wrong. And there's all sorts of great stuff in it, right? One of the reasons I was drawn to this story is because I've never been in that community socially, but I've definitely been influenced by some of these ideas, and by Less Wrong has a bunch of interesting logic stuff and eliminating cognitive biases. There's loads of great stuff in there. And one of the other things that he did is he wrote a fan fiction, a Harry Potter fan fiction, called Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality. It's all right. I kind of like it. The conceit of this fanfic is that, okay, what if Harry Potter, instead of being raised by these horrible troglodytes, the Dursleys, thank you. Instead of being raised by these horrible troglodytes, what if Harry Potter been raised by a really, really nice couple who worked in STEM fields and had a very strong grasp and taught him their strong grasp on rationality and the scientific method? What happens is he gets to Hogwarts and then he's like, what the fuck? This doesn't make any goddamn sense. What do you mean? What do you mean the money is all gold? Okay, wait. Okay, and then he starts thinking about he goes into Gringotts and he starts thinking, okay, I can do some really cool arbitrage with this gold, because the exchange rate of the silver sickles to the golden galleons will drift far enough away sometimes from the exchange rate of silver to gold bullion in the Muggle market. So if that spread gets far enough, I can make hella money. Right now I want to learn magic and go to the magic school because I'm going to do that. This fanfiction is essentially intended as, and I don't use this word pejoratively, propaganda for the sort of rationalist worldview. It's intended to dramatize a lot of the dilemmas and the beliefs and the ideas that Yudkowsky is trying to put out. And it definitely seems to have been pretty influential to certain of the Zizians. One in particular, one called Maximilian Snyder, who is alleged to have killed the landlord Curtis Lind, with or without any coordination with the other group, we don't know. In fact, he was identified as being in the other group by someone else in the group, so unclear what's going on there. But he seems to have mainly been not much social connection, just philosophically inspired. And one of his key routes into rationalism, apparently, according to reports, was he was super into this fanfic. He read this and he was like, hell fucking yeah, holy shit. Ziz also was into this fanfic. She quotes it a few times in her writings. So it's this weird experience you have where you're reading into these writings that are supposedly, maybe, allegedly written by this charismatic cult leader. And it's yeah, as this person said in this Harry Potter fanfic. And then this quote that goes super hard and you're like, whoa, okay. Yeah.
Be careful of fanfic.
Yes, you gotta watch out for that stuff. Dangerous.
One more question, just because we can't stay in the venue all night, which is annoying, but it's a reaction. Hello.
I think a lot of us would like to get Anna's contact information and make sure we know how to find her.
Yeah, totally. Anna's contact information. I mean, I think this is an opportunity for both of you to do a shout out on where to find your work. You want to kick it off?
Yeah. So the Lioness is at lioness.io. On Instagram, I'm Anna is Average. You can DM me there, and we could hang out. Ask me any questions. I love questions.
And Io?
You can find me on Blue Sky at iododds.bsky.social. I'm also on X, formerly Twitter, at Io Dodds is my handle. I work for The Independent, and you can look up my writing there. I am about to start a newsletter. You know what? When is the actual podcast going to come out?
This will be out in a couple of weeks, probably.
Okay, fuck it. By the time it's out, the newsletter will have begun.
Oh, great.
It exists. You can subscribe to it.
One last question.
I am going to write Harry Potter fan fiction as well, but that's very early stages. And the newsletter is Iosphere. That's what it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One last question. It has to be a really amazing one because it's closing out the night.
So, my amazing question to end tonight is, how do we get your Blockbuster onesie or Vincent's tomato sweater?
Okay, so the Blockbuster top, we went to Bend a few days ago, which is a 3-hour drive from Portland. And it is the last Blockbuster in America. It's on Earth, I know. It's closed in Alaska and Australia. And we're having an episode coming out about Blockbuster soon. It's my first time ever stepping in a Blockbuster store. And it was fucking beautiful. And I'm very happy to be wearing their sweater now.
And I think Vincent's sweater was from Reckless Unicorn in Los Feliz.
Okay. That's a trendy LA store for you San Franciscans. Thank you so much. I feel like I was just mocking you then. That was a bad end.
Well, let's give away some stuff.
You've been so wonderful. Thank you for staying. We have a couple of things we're going to throw out to you. Rob, I'm going to narrate while you throw.
You gotta
Take the bag. Take the bag to the front. We've got some T-shirts. We're going to throw out. Thank you for being here. We have some chocolate. Don't eat it in here or we get in trouble. We get fined. You've got to not open it. I'm going to throw that out. We've got some coffee as well from Excelsior. I want to thank Billy, who's here tonight. He cuts all of our episodes. He puts up with us droning on forever every fucking time. Kelcey, who played when we opened the show, thank you for being here. My God.
We got Paxton Gate, who gave us these birds.
Yeah. Anna Lee, thank you. Thank you so much. Io Dodds, looking forward to your newsletter. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Greg Sestero for beaming in from China. And Rob, thank you for making the show with me. You're a good human.
And David.
Thank you. We're going to throw some down.
Calvin, what do you think about San Francisco?
I think it is cool. I like the Golden Gate Bridge. It's a really fun place. They have a lot of trees. I think the trolley's really cool, and I want to ride one. They take you around places really fast, and they have a bunch of wheels, and they're big.
What can you tell me about San Francisco?
They have really steep hills. I don't think you'll want to get stuck on them.
Why not?
Because then you'll probably pop your tire, and then you can't get down.
What about if you're walking?
Oh, if you're walking, then if you get stuck, rocks get you stuck in the ground, then you have to call someone to break the rocks. And if you get stuck by quicksand, then you'll have to call a firefighter.
Is there a lot of quicksand in San Francisco, you think?
I don't think so.
Is there anything you want to say to people in San Francisco?
I like your bridge. I like your city. I hope you have a good night. And thanks for coming to the show.
Thank you for coming. See you afterwards.
Different planets orbit the sun. We're held as we spun. Our different numbers add up to one. We're held as we spun. It was all new, scary dogs and ghosts of old fireworks. And Diesel was a Doberman who barked every time we breathed air. It was all so frightening, but then we got prepared. We started shouting, "Happy birthday, Diesel, Merry Christmas," making no sense. A dog Tasha never found Diesel as funny as we did. Twice a day is our sacred time to talk. Making plans for new native plants and righting old family wrongs. I dropped my glass coffee cup and it broke and they never let it go. Every curve was a safe point. Every dog needed different combos. So she took the longer route and couldn't say no. Sometimes we walked the whole way without saying anything at all. One day we shouted Happy New Year, Diesel, but Diesel couldn't be found. Just the sunken dirt at the base of the palm tree he ran around. Diesel was the last to go, but the first of a friend of ours. Now he stopped to listen to the barks of the ghosts of neighborhood dogs. Will you stop and listen with me? There are hundreds of things that you can see. Will you stop and listen with me? There are so many things that you can see. Will you stop to listen with me? I remember driving the 134, engine revving as the hills blurred. There were multiple slightly dangerous lane changes, searching for my exit, my sign to get somewhere, as if my life was over. But why? I don't remember anything before you. What was life? What I do before you? What was life? Who was I? Late to airports, buying shoes and toasting friends, arguing under overpasses, making movies, laboring over captions, hurrying just to sleep again. They say that when you die, that your whole life flashes back. Well, I know that I saw mine on the day that I first saw you. What was life? What I do before you? What was life? Who was I? What was life? What I do before you? What was life? Who was I?